Hi there, this is Quan from ZTAG. In this video, I'm going to demo how to operate this board and start your first game. So this is assuming you've already wired everything up, and we're going to be plugging this into a LiPo battery. And so when I start this, ignore the first 3 seconds. We'll get into the boot sequence later, but I'm going to tell you what these 3 buttons mean. So the A button starts and stops your game. So this is going to be our launch timer. The B button is going to be your scoring mechanism. It's going to show you what your score is after a game. And C is going to either change the amount of health you start with or the team color that you start with. So let's get in a little bit detail with each button. So the A button is essentially the only button you need to press between games. And when I press it once, it's going to start a 20-second launch timer. It's going to count down. And if I flip this over to the lights that are facing your FPV camera, you'll see it actually starts a countdown sequence, and the lights are going to extinguish one by one going this way until at the very last light it's going to do a quick little strobe. And then now all the drones are active, and this is an actively tagging board. The reason why we wanted to have a launch timer, this is really important, is because we want a pit mode so that when you have your drones set up on the ground, they're not already tagging each other. So when you press A and you have a 20-second launch sequence, it gives every pilot enough time to arm their drone and fly up to wherever their designated locations are, and then start the game and make it active. So I'm going to demonstrate this again. I'm going to tap A, and then you'll see this starts counting down by flashing and extinguishing one light at a time. And when you see this middle light do a quick blink, that's the signal for everybody to arm and get their drones up in the air. Then you got 10 more seconds before this last light does a quick blink, and now the game is active. Okay, so again, this gives a good synchronization for all the drones to take off and prepare before the actual game happens. And also, you'll notice this countdown timer, this is a great way to synchronize your videos. If you got multiple people flying and you want to get your flight footage to sync up, having this in the beginning of the sequence is really useful. And the reason why we do a little blink right in the middle here, I'll demonstrate one more time. The reason why we have this blink right here is this is when we want you to arm your drone. If you arm your drone right here, that's also when your video starts recording. You got 10 more seconds before you see this blink, which you can use to sync up your flight footage. Okay, there you go. All right, now when you're done with the game, you just press any button and it will deactivate the active game again. And one more feature to the A button is if you hold it down, that actually starts the game immediately without the launch timer. Okay, so if you hold it down, that's what starts the game immediately. Okay, now if you are doing the launch sequence right here, and if somebody's not quite ready, press any button right here and it'll flash white, and that aborts the launch sequence. And also how the launch sequence works is when you press it, the radio on this board is going to send out to the other boards to get them to synchronize and do the same countdown. Alright, so I'm going to skip the B button for now because we haven't actually demoed an actual game, but this will show you the scoring mechanism. So after that demo, I'm going to come back and show you button B. Button C is quite simple. Just by tapping this changes your starting health, okay, from 20 points, 40 points, 60 points, 80 points, and 100 points. Okay. The reason why we want to do this is because we may add handicaps to certain drones after you play it. I recommend starting with all 5 health in the beginning just to see how easy it is to convert or tag people. And if it's too hard, then you might want to have some drones start with lower amounts of health. Okay, for button C, if you hold it down, that changes your team color. So we have 6 different teams. if you have the same color, then there's no friendly fire. You're not going to tag your own teammate. So only different colors will tag each other. So when you get this board from us, you want to make sure you set each of the boards to a different color if you want them to tag each other individually. Okay, so now I'm going to do a demo of two boards going through very similar settings, and then after this game finishes, we'll go into the scoring settings. Okay, so this board is also powered up. Okay. And just to keep the game fair, you see how this has 5 lights right here? That means it has 5 starting health. I'm gonna move this one also to 5. So you want everybody generally to have the same amount of starting health, unless it's agreed upon that somebody has a handicap here. Okay, so I'm gonna press A on one of the boards, and you'll see both of them. They'll flash in sync to start their launch timer. And you'll see on the FPV camera facing side, the 2 lights are going to be in sync, and it's going to continue its countdown. And then right after the flash of the first light right here, you'll see it starts tagging each other. And we won't know which one's going to actually win the game until the very end. Okay. All right. So this board got tagged out, and I'm not sure if the camera will pick up the color, but they're gonna both be the same color now. They're gonna both be this a cyan color, and because they're on the same team now, they're not tagging each other anymore. And later on, I'll share with you a little bit more about the domination mode, but essentially it's when one board gets tagged out, it gets converted to the color of the team that tagged it. So now this board is done. We're gonna stop the game. Okay, and then this one we're gonna stop the game by pressing any button. And then now I'm gonna show you what the actual scoring mechanism is. So I press the first button here, or sorry, I press the B button, and then you'll see this white light blinking. The A button and the C button are going to be directional to move this white light either to the right or back to the left. And what this indicates is whichever light this is on, it's going to, the 3 lights down here, right next to the A, B, and C button, they're going to blink different number of times to help you count the score for each of those fields. Okay, so now I'm going to tell you what each of these fields actually mean. So the very first light is your kill count. Okay, and the way to read the number is if you look at the A, B, and C, the A represents the hundreds digit, the B represents the tens digit, and the C represents the ones digit. So if the white light on the first position is on, that's the number of kills. So now you read the A, B, and C, and you see how the C light only blinks once. So that means this board made 1 kill. Okay, again, there's no blinks on A, no blinks on B, 1 blink on C. So that's 1 blink on the units, or the ones digit, which means a single kill. Now I press C, which moves the white light over by 1, and this light is going to indicate the number of hits. Okay, so you see it's still blinking only on C, so that's actually no, it's blinking once on B. See, once, and then however many times on C. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 5. So this is actually 15 hits. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so this is a number of hits. And then you move 1 more over. This is the damage that was dealt by your drone. Okay, so the damage is actually in points. And basically, if you deal more than 100 points damage to another drone, that's what kills them. Okay, so you'll see it blinks once in the 100s, and then several times in B, and then several times in C. So by reading the hundreds, tens, and ones, you'll see this is the amount of damage you've dealt to others. And the damage may be more than 100 points because we have some mechanisms in here that has recovery. So it may take more than 100 points to kill somebody. This light right here is the damage taken. Okay, so this drone, because it didn't die, it's going to have less than 100. Actually, because it recovered a few times, it's still going to have about 100 points of damage because I had this other board basically right next to it. Okay, so this is the amount of damage dealt. And then the last one is the number of times you died. And because this drone, it didn't die, you're not going to see any of the lights blink. So that means 0 death. And then when you're done reading all of this, you can press B again, and then that backs out of the score reading mode. I know this is a little bit too detailed with the point system. We're going to work on a way to actually extrapolate this onto another unit that has a visual display. But right now, if you really wanted to know the score after a game, you press B, and then you basically cycle through the different fields, and then you can read A, B, and C to get the exact score out of this board. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate a couple of less used but very important features for when you start up this game. So in different scenarios, especially different lighting conditions, you may want to change the amount of infrared intensity coming out of these infrared lights right up here. There are 4 of them. And you only do that during the boot sequence. Okay, so, and there's also another mode called domination mode, which I'll get to shortly. So during boot up, right when I plug this in, you'll see within 3 seconds, this is blinking. And you have to press one of the 3 buttons to keep it in boot mode and make the change. So during boot mode, I'll demonstrate again a little bit later. When you press A, that does a factory reset. It basically changes everything back to its default. When you press B, it changes the infrared strength. And then when you press C, it changes, it toggles the domination mode on or off. In domination mode, it essentially means if this is blinking, then when your drone gets tagged out, you get converted to the team that killed you. If you have domination mode off, you'll see these 3 lights, they're going to be solid, and that just means when you die, you don't convert, your health is just 0, and you basically have to land and reset your drone if you want to play again. So I'm going to go into the boot sequence, and I'll show you the factory reset. So during the first 3 seconds, if I press that button, you'll see it counts up and it goes back into the boot sequence. I'm gonna do it one more time, and this time I'm gonna press B to change the IR strength. So immediately during the boot up, if I press B, you'll see it changes from 2 lights, 3 lights, or 1. This is the lowest IR strength, 2nd level, or 3rd level. We usually start with max, unless you realize that the strength is too much. Maybe you're flying indoors or close range at night, and then you want to reduce the infrared. So watch this again. Right, so now there's only 1 light. That means this is at the lowest level of infrared intensity. Okay, and then finally, I'll do the demonstration for the domination mode. Okay, if I press it once, it'll blink. Press it again, it'll be solid. That's what toggles domination mode on or off. If it's solid, it means domination mode is off. So when this drone gets tagged out, it's not going to convert to any other color. So it's important to know when you're playing the game that everybody, in order to keep it fair, should have the same settings. So you'll see here, this drone has max infrared strength, and it is in domination mode. This drone is in the lowest infrared strength and is not playing in domination mode. So just be aware that these 3 LED lights before you launch, they should look consistent across all the drones to keep it a fair game. Unless intentionally you may add some handicaps. So do it only if you know what you're doing. Otherwise, you can keep it in the default mode for the game. So that's pretty much it for these details. Feel free to send us in some emails if you have additional questions, or you can list it down in the comments below. All right, thanks so much for watching. Take care.